Fear. It's probably the last thing you'd expect to exist in youth sports, and it's driving too many parents to make decisions they swore they'd never make. FOMO. You've probably felt it and maybe even acted on it. It's the fear of missing out, and it's a powerful force in youth sports today. As soon as parents perceive that they're not doing enough to support their child's sporting journey, they scramble to keep pace with the families that appear to be providing more. Hey, Caden and Lucas are enrolled in power skating on Saturdays. We'd better sign up too. Or, did you hear a few of the girls are going to play spring soccer? I guess we'd better join instead of trying field hockey for the next couple of months. Those are just a couple of examples, and to be clear, there's nothing wrong with power skating or spring soccer. But there is something wrong with the idea that if your child doesn't do everything to the extent that some of his or her teammates are doing, that your child will be left behind. These types of situations are very common, and they're leading to the increased pressure and overwhelm that Olympic gold medalist John Montgomery discussed in episode 2 of Better Sports Parents.
110% of it is self-imposed. The government hasn't created new laws to say that 9-year-olds need to be in hockey 12 months of the year, or that 14-year-olds are supposed to be able to do double back layouts on hard ground. These are ideals and ideas that parents and coaches, and mostly from a money generating standpoint, have indoctrinated individuals to believe that if your kid's not in this camp this summer, he's going to get left behind and he might not make that team. And so from a fear perspective, all of these things crop up. And when fear is present, somebody's going to take advantage of that. They're going to host a camp and they're going to put out a shingle to saying, hey, we can train your kids to be prepared for when they need to be prepared so that they can go and perform at their highest possible level so that they can become more anxious, more neurotic, less engaged with a team, community, and environment, and more focused on chasing their tail for something that's not going to benefit them. But if we can take a step back and realize that if your kid's going to be in the NHL, chances are the summer program isn't going to make the difference. And that if he wants to have fun with his buddies in golf and or play baseball and develop some core strength and stability, some eye-hand coordination that's going to help him catch that pass out of midair as he's crossing the red line to go down and get his breakaway goal next winter. Well, the eye-hand coordination that's born out of doing one of the hardest things in sports, which is hitting a fastball off of a pitcher, is astronomical. Lining up that little tiny white ball with that driver's face and hitting it square at impact so that it doesn't slice or hook or skull. I mean, that type of athleticism is remarkable, and that trained muscle memory for doing X when it can be applied to Y, when Y is where the greatest importance is, you can't diminish what doing something else is going to improve your bread and butter, your core sport for. So I'm all for multi-sport. I'm all for mixing it up, and I'm all for parents giving their kids chances to have fun, to play, to become physically literate, and to learn where the mind and the body intersect at wellness with moving it.
And I think if you get parents in isolated moments, they agree with all of that. And yet, I know, and you know, parents who have been where you got to athletically, or in my case, been around pro sports their entire lives and understand the process, and yet find themselves on this youth sports treadmill and they know what might be happening isn't correct, but they feel powerless to get off that treadmill at that moment. So, how do you personally attempt to combat that, John?
I say you have to decide for yourselves as a family at home what you're going to do. There's going to be influence, especially if you have a talented youngster and they're one of the ringers on a team. Your child is going to be sought after as a commodity, not for any benefit of his own, but what he could bring to a team. And so you're going to have to stand your ground. And if you've got a ringer that they want on the summer hockey team or on the summer soccer team or on the fourth summer baseball team, um, they want them there to win, to have the team level up. And you need to have firm boundaries, like everything in life. People are going to ask and ask and ask and ask. And there's always somebody there with their hand out, and whether it's for your child's time and prowess in sport or for your hard-earned resources and money, for your time, for your energy, somebody is going to want of you. And having firm boundaries, I think, is a good tool to pass along to your children for everything in life, for being able to say no to other things and not just being on sports teams, and protecting your space and your finite resource, which is your energy. You only have so much to extend out there. The world wants all of it. And to be a good father, to be a good brother, to be a good sister, to be a good mother, son, daughter, aunt, uncle, whatever, you do need to keep some of those resources for yourself. And so having boundaries about what sports teams you're going to be on, what you're going to do as far as your season looks, 12-month sports season, and sticking to it. And I guess coming up with maybe moments to rejig, recalibrate, and reassess where the family is at, and how what you're interested in doing individually in sports as a kid fits into that whole matrix. And it is a jumbled, wild, mixed up mess of people's time and energy and resources going in. It's basically like a helicopter. It's 60,000 parts trying to fly apart. Well, that's what I perceive family units being like in today's day and age, figuring out where they're going, what they're doing, and what sports and extracurricular activities there are. Because, like you said, it's not just sports, it's scholastically based, like having your kids tutored, getting into music and doing another area of the brain, lighting up another quadrant or region, to have fully formed, engaged, hemispherically connected brains.
Establishing some firm boundaries that, as John mentioned, should be revisited and perhaps altered every so often is a great way to fight FOMO. Now, I can't tell you what your boundaries should be because everyone's child and everyone's situation is somewhat unique. But there are steps you can take to insulate yourself from the pressure and FOMO that is bound to present itself at some point. Number one, establish your priorities as a family. How much time and money are we willing to devote to youth sports this season? And does that allow us and our children to enjoy some of the other aspects of life that we value? My youngest daughter, she recently wanted to try every activity under the sun when looking at fall, but we don't have the time or the resources for all of it. So we helped choose a number of activities that we could accommodate, and we said no to others. If she's interested again in a few months, we will do our best to make it work. Number two, talk directly to coaches. Most organizations are going to tell you they support multi-sport and other activities, but you need to find out early if they practice what they preach. Chances are there will be scheduling conflicts. Could be other sports, activities, or family functions. If they threaten to demote or punish your child in some manner, you need to realize there are other teams and clubs that won't. My oldest daughter is currently in this situation, but we talked to her coaches. They all understood, and they were supportive of her playing multiple sports and sometimes having to miss one sport for whatever reason. Number three, talk to other parents. If you're not a proponent of investing more of your family's time, money, and energy into one sport, please understand you're not alone. As soon as you realize that other families are taking an approach that's similar to what works for you, you'll feel some of that FOMO and that pressure start to dissipate. And remember, there is no one path that works for every child or every family. There are a lot of different ways to get to where you want to go through sports. For more conversations and strategies like this one, be sure to subscribe to Better Sports Parents wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes publish every week, and we'll be adding resources for you to access through a variety of channels. A quick shout out to Andre Diakonu for the music on this episode. So until next time, happy sports parenting. And remember, have fun out there. That's what it's supposed to be about.